In this video, we're gonna learn how to solve a system equation using a matrix and its inverse. It's a little different than the Cramer's rule and those other methods in matrix. So we're gonna use inverse right now. It's more algebraic, this method of solving an equation. So the first thing you have to understand about inverses is that a matrix, if you multiply its inverse, okay, is always equal to 1. It's kind of like 5 times 1/5 is 1. So the multiplicative inverse is 1/5 if it's 5. So for this, matrix A times matrix the inverse of matrix A is equal to 1. So it's kind of the same idea. So to use matrix, and for this example, you want to put it all in matrix form, right? So the way you do this is you put the coefficients for this 2, 3, 4, -5, okay? And the reason why you have xy here in this matrices is because when you multiply it, think about it, is 2 times x plus 4y here. And then the next one is 3 times x minus 5y. See, it makes sense, okay? That's why you can split it in these two matrices. I don't know if you learn how to multiply matrices yet. I'm going to make a video of multiplying matrices if I haven't done one yet. But that's the reason why this is this way. Okay, equals to, you just put this into brackets, 2, -8. Well, what can I do here? I can multiply the inverse of this. See, if I multiply the inverse of this, okay, on this side, wherever the inverse is, then I multiply on this side, this will become 1, which means the solution is this xy in here equals to something, right? So I want to multiply the inverse of this, okay? So I'm going to multiply the inverse. I'm going to make some room here because I want to illustrate it easier. Okay, so it's this. I just want to make sure I have room. So I'm going to multiply the inverse on both sides, whatever that is. Okay, this is A, this is A. We're going to multiply the inverse of what it is. Okay, this is not A, this is A, sorry. Inverse of A, this is matrix A. This will be 1, and then something times this, that's the answer, okay? So let's find the inverse of this matrix, okay? And how do you find the inverse of a 2 by 2 matrix? Well, it's 1 over AD minus BC, okay? And I'm going to explain this in a second if you don't know what I'm talking about. Basically, this is in this format. This only works by 2 by 2 matrices, by the way. Okay, this is considered A, B, C, D, and you can actually derive this. I'm going to make a video on showing you where this formula comes from. But this is in this format, okay? So to find the inverse, okay, you just plug these numbers into here, and then that's the inverse. So let's do that. 1 over, let's see, that's -10, right? Minus 12. And then you have, let's see, -5 to, I usually put the A's and D's first because, you know, and then the negatives of each other. It's just easier to do it that way. I find there's less mistakes. And then this is 1 over, let's see, -1 over 22. Because the bottom is -10 times, -10 minus 12, which is -22. I just put the negative on top. Times this. And then if you multiply it through the scalar, you'll get, let's see, -5 over 22, positive 5 over 22. Right? Oops. That'll be 4 over 22. That's -2 over 22. And you're probably wondering why I'm not reducing this. There's a good reason, is because later on when you add it back, you gotta change the denominator again. So I'll just make it easy and I'll reduce and simplify it at the end of the problem. Okay. So now I know this should be the inverse of this. Okay. So now what I have to do, okay, is I want to plug this in for here because that's the inverse. Now for the for the right side, I already have let's see. The left side I have xy because a inverse a and a is this one. Okay. Equals to inverse a, right? Inverse a is this, right? I just solved for the inverse. Now times this to -8. One thing very, very important that you have to know about matrices is that the multiplication is not commutative, which means this. A times -1 is not a -1a. You cannot multiply backwards like, it's not like multiplication like this. Like when you're using integers, that rule is accepted. But in matrices, it's not accepted. You cannot, it's not commutative, the multiplication. So you make sure you're multiplying on the left side, not the right side, the left side, okay? So now I multiplied the two matrices and how about let's do it over here in enough room. Let's see, hope that's enough room here. Okay, so let's see, 5/22 times that, we got 10/22. Okay, and then let's see, 4/22 times this, you'll get -32 over 22, and that will be let's see, 10 minus 32 is -22, so it's -1. Okay, so far I have -1, and the bottom now, 3/22 over times 2 is 6/22. If you don't know how to multiply matrices, I'll do it in another video. So 6/22. So -2 over 22 times that is let's see, plus 16 over 22, and 6 plus 16 is just 22, which means you get 1. Okay. So your solution is going to be -1 and 1. So x and y. So you see everything's, here is just xy on one side and 1 to the other. So you can see xy and -1, 1, it matches. Okay, so that's the solution saying, plug it back into original. This only works for 2 by 2, just so you know, 2 by 2 matrices. There's no, for 3 by 3 is a whole different method I have in another video. If you have any questions, let me know. Remember the most important thing about matrices, multiplication is not commutative. Okay. Let me know if you have any comments or suggestions. Let me know. Thanks.